The afternoon light spills through the curtains Delaney and I picked out last spring, casting warm patterns across the sample menu cards scattered across my desk. I've been at this for hours, comparing font styles for the place settings, but the satisfaction of getting every detail right for Mom and Dad's anniversary party keeps me going. My phone buzzes against the oak desktop, Mom's name lighting up the screen. Perfect timing. I need her final approval on the centerpieces before the florist deadline tomorrow. Hey, Mom, I answer, tucking the phone between my ear and shoulder while arranging the silver and navy color swatches side by side. I was just about to call you about the flowers. Mara, darling. Her voice rings through with that particular pitch she uses when she's excited about something. I was thinking about the guest list again. I laugh softly. Mom, we finalized that 2 weeks ago. The invitations go to the printer tomorrow. I know. She pauses, that brief silence sending an unexpected chill down my spine. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page about everything. Something in her tone shifts my focus entirely away from the color samples. I set down my pen. What do you mean? Well, about who's coming. Another pause, longer this time. Oh, and Delaney doesn't need to come. It's just a family thing. The words hit me like a physical blow. For a moment, I can't speak, can't even form thoughts beyond the roaring in my ears. The light that seemed so warm moments ago turns harsh and glaring. Delaney is my wife. I finally manage, my voice barely above a whisper. She is family. Dad's voice rumbles in the background, and then he's on the line. Mara, listen. We just don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. My fingers tighten around the phone. 3 years of marriage, and they still act like Delaney is some phase I'm going through. Someone temporary they can simply wait out. If my wife isn't welcome, I say, each word measured and clear, then I won't be there either. Mom's laugh crackles through the phone, tight and dismissive. Don't be dramatic, sweetheart. It's our anniversary. Yes, I say. The anniversary I've spent 3 months planning. The anniversary party I've put $8,000 into. The anniversary celebration you asked me to handle because I have, what did you call it, better taste than you do. Mara. No, the word comes out sharper than I intended. You don't get to do this. The line goes silent for so long, I check to see if the call dropped. Then Mom sighs. We'll talk about this later when you're not so emotional. The call ends, and I stand frozen, phone still clutched in my hand. 3 months ago, Mom sat across from me at the corner cafe downtown, her eyes bright with something close to pride, as she asked me to plan their 35th anniversary celebration. You've always had better taste than me, she'd said, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. The gesture had felt like a bridge being built after years of tension, after their empty seats at my wedding, after holiday dinners where Delaney's name was carefully avoided. I'd believed her. I'd wanted so badly to believe this meant something was shifting, that they were finally ready to accept my life, all of it. Last night, I showed Delaney the growing stack of vendor contracts on my desk. She stood behind me, hands resting lightly on my shoulders, scanning the catering invoice. $8,200, she whispered, the concern in her voice carefully masked. That's most of our vacation fund. I know. I covered her hand with mine, but it's worth it. You'll finally get to be part of a real family event with them. No more separate holiday visits or awkward phone calls. Delaney had smiled, but I'd caught that flicker of doubt in her eyes. She'd seen this pattern before, but hadn't wanted to dampen my hope. I sink into my office chair and open my email, needing to check something with the venue. That's when I see a new message confirming a change request. As requested by the primary contact, Teresa Lawson. My mother has changed the contact email. I click through to another notification, this one accidentally forwarded to me an email thread between Mom and various family members. Mara's a bit emotional about her relationship stuff, but don't worry, the party's still on. The words blur as tears fill my eyes. $8,000. Countless hours. All to plan a celebration for someone who's been planning behind my back, to erase the most important person in my life. I don't hear Delaney come in until her soft Mara pulls me back to the present. She takes in the scene at the desk, tears streaming down my face. Invitation samples spread across the surface like evidence at a crime scene. What happened? She asks, kneeling beside my chair. I try to speak, but all that comes out is a sob. My hands shake as I punch in Mom's number. The phone rings 3 times before she answers, her voice bright and casual as if nothing happened. Mara, honey, I was just about to call you about the centerpieces. I'm thinking we should. Why did you change the contact email with the venue? The words come out sharper than I intended, my voice cracking slightly. A pause. Oh, that. Her tone shifts, dismissive now. I just thought it would be easier since you've been so busy. That's not what the email said. I gripped the phone tighter, staring at the printed evidence spread across our dining table. You told them you were taking over the planning. You're overreacting, Mom sighs. We just want a traditional family gathering. Is that so terrible? Heat rises to my face. A traditional family gathering that excludes my wife? Mara, do you have any idea how much money I've already spent on this? $8,000, Mom, from our vacation fund. The line rustles and Dad's voice replaces hers. This isn't about you, Mara, it's our anniversary. That's right, I say, pressing my free hand flat against the table to steady myself. The anniversary I've spent 3 months planning. The celebration you specifically asked me to handle. We appreciate your help, but Delaney isn't welcome. The words hang in the air between us. Now, Mara, Dad's voice hardens. You're making this difficult for everyone. I'm making it difficult? My laugh sounds foreign to my own ears. When did you decide this? When exactly did you plan to exclude my wife from an event I'm paying for? The silence stretches, confirming what I already know. You never intended to include her, did you? My voice drops to barely above a whisper. This whole thing was just another attempt to separate us. Dad clears his throat. Your mother will call you tomorrow when you've calmed down. The call ends with a click, and my arm drops to my side, suddenly weighted. The texts start arriving within the hour. My cousin Rachel just saw Aunt Teresa's email. WTF? Attached is a screenshot of a message Mom sent to the family group chat, the one I was never added to after introducing Delaney to everyone 3 years ago. Mara's a bit emotional about her relationship situation, but don't worry, the celebration is still happening as planned. Gordon and I are looking forward to seeing everyone for our special day. P.S. Please don't mention this to Mara, as she's sensitive right now. My stomach clenches. I scroll down to another message Rachel sent. Check your email. I'm forwarding something you need to see. The forwarded email loads, and my breath catches. It's a thread between Mom and my Aunt Susan from 2 weeks ago. We're trying to get her away from that influence. I've invited Jeff, remember her college boyfriend, and seated them together. Maybe seeing him will remind her of normalcy. Below that, a reply from Susan. Has Mara's roommate been told she's not invited? Mom's response, we'll handle her friend. Gordon thinks Mara will come around once she's surrounded by real family again. The word friend burns across my vision. 3 years of marriage reduced to friend. The deliberate erasure of Delaney of us laid bare in black and white. More messages arrive. Screenshots of conversations where Mom refers to Delaney as my roommate, my friend, my Boston situation. Never my wife, never family. I don't hear Delaney enter the room, only register her presence when a mug of tea appears beside my hand. She doesn't ask questions, just sits in the chair across from me, her eyes taking in the papers and my phone. Its screen still lighting up with new messages. They invited Jeff. I say, the words tasting sour. From college. Delaney raises an eyebrow but stays quiet. They seated us together. At their anniversary. The one I'm planning. I gesture at the seating chart I'd created, unaware I was orchestrating my own humiliation. They think if they get me away from your influence, I'll come around. Something shifts inside me, a tectonic plate sliding into a new position. The realization hits with startling clarity. They still expect me to change. After 3 years of marriage, after all the holidays where they've kept Delaney at arm's length, they're still waiting for this to be a phase I'll outgrow. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Uncle Tom. Mara, your mother just called me. I want you to know Sarah and I won't be attending if Delaney isn't welcome. That's not how family behaves. Tears prick my eyes. Unexpected allies emerging from the family landscape I thought was uniformly hostile. Another text from Rachel. Mom and I are out too. This is bullshit. My cousin Anthony, always quiet at family gatherings. Not cool what Aunt Teresa's doing. Count me out. Delaney rises without a word and returns moments later with our wedding album. She places it open between us. There we are, surrounded by friends and a handful of relatives, Uncle Tom and Aunt Sarah, Rachel and her mom, Anthony standing awkwardly but present in a poorly fitted suit. The chosen few who showed up when my parents' chairs sat empty. This is our family too, Delaney says quietly, her finger tracing the edge of the photo. The contrast couldn't be more stark. The cold, conditional acceptance my parents offer versus the warm, unwavering support of those who love us both. I gather the scattered papers, the contracts and receipts, the emails that reveal the truth behind my mother's request. My hands, which trembled minutes ago, steady as purpose replaces hurt. What are you going to do? Delaney asks, watching me stack everything into the planning binder. I meet her eyes across the table. What I should have done 3 years ago, stop pretending. The binder closes with a final, satisfying snap. My fingers tremble slightly as I dial the venue's number. A woman answers on the third ring, her voice crisp and professional. Lakeside Gardens, this is Amber speaking. I take a deep breath. Hi Amber, this is Mara Lawson Reynolds. I'm calling about the anniversary celebration booked for the 14th of April. Of course. Let me pull that up. The click of her keyboard fills the pause. The Lawson anniversary, correct? Yes. I grip the phone tighter. I need to cancel the event. Amber's voice shifts from professional to concerned. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. May I ask why? I hadn't prepared for this question. The truth spills out before I can stop it. I'm the one who made the arrangements and payments, but the event was for my parents. They've decided to exclude my wife from the guest list. A beat of silence follows. When Amber speaks again, her voice has softened, maternal almost. I understand completely. Something protective enters her tone. Well, since you're the contract holder and the one who put down all the deposits, we can process this cancellation immediately. No questions asked. 20 minutes later, I've secured a full refund, minus a small processing fee. Each vendor call that follows strengthens rather than drains me. The caterer expresses sympathy. The band manager assures me they'll find another booking. The florist offers to create a special arrangement for my home instead. Something bright, she says. With each cancellation, my voice grows steadier. By the time I hang up with the linen rental company, my final call, 3 hours have passed. $8,000 will be returned to our account within 7 business days. The house falls quiet. Delaney left for the grocery store halfway through my calls, sensing I needed space. I walk through our kitchen, sliding open the back door to the small garden we planted last spring. I sink onto the wooden bench. It's done. All of it. The realization crashes over me like a physical force. My shoulders hunch forward as the first sob breaks free. Then another, and another. 3 months of planning. Years of hoping. A lifetime of trying to be enough for them. I press my palms against my eyes, but the tears won't stop. How could I have been so blind? I don't hear Delaney until she sets down grocery bags and sits beside me. She doesn't speak, doesn't reach for me, just sits, her shoulder touching mine, solid and present. I kept thinking, my voice cracks, they'd eventually see the way I do. Delaney's hand finds mine, her fingers warm against my cold ones. I wasted so much time waiting for that moment. The admission feels like pulling out a splinter-sharp pain followed by relief. It's never going to happen, is it? I don't know, Delaney answers, her honesty one of the things I've always loved about her. But you can't keep putting your life on hold waiting for it. The doorbell rings, startling us both. In our living room, Sarah and Michael are arranging takeout containers on the coffee table when I emerge from washing my face. Leslie arrives moments later with wine. By 7 o'clock, Our home buzzes with the quiet energy of 6 friends. Through the hallway, I hear Delaney's low voice explaining what happened while I was in the bathroom. Her mother actually changed the contact email with vendors behind her back. Michael's indignant response carries clearly. She spent how much of her own money on this thing, $8,000, for people who can't even respect her marriage? When I return, the room quiets momentarily before Sarah raises her glass. I was just saying you should use that refund money for something meaningful, she says, eyes bright with protective anger. Maybe that trip to Maine you two have been talking about, instead of on people who don't deserve your effort. I look around our living room at these people who dropped everything on a Tuesday night because Delaney called. No conditions, no manipulations, just love. Later, after everyone leaves, I open my laptop at the kitchen table. The email draft glows on the screen. To all invited guests, the event scheduled for the 14th of April has been canceled due to personal reasons. For questions, please contact Gordon and Teresa directly. Sincerely, Mara Lawson Reynolds. My finger hovers over the send button. Delaney comes up behind me, her hand covering mine on the mouse. Are you sure? I add one more line before looking up at her. And yes, Delaney is still very much my wife and family. Now I am. I click send. Within minutes, my phone begins buzzing with notifications. Text messages, voicemails, social media alerts. I watch it vibrate across the kitchen counter 5 times before I walk over, silence it, and place it in the drawer next to the silverware. The sudden quiet fills our kitchen. For the first time in months, maybe years, I feel something unexpected. Peace. Not happiness, exactly. But the stillness that comes with finally setting a boundary that should have been set long ago. Delaney leans against the counter, her arms crossed. What do you want to do about your parents now? I consider this, realizing with surprise that the answer comes easily. Nothing. The word tastes like freedom. The ball is in their court now. She raises an eyebrow. And if they never pick it up? I think of the gathering tone I toff Michael's protective anger, Sarah's practical suggestions, Leslie's quiet understanding. I think of the garden bench where Delaney sat with me while I finally mourned the relationship I'd always wanted but never had. Then we keep building this. I gesture around us to our home, to the empty wine glasses on the coffee table, to the 2 of us standing in our kitchen. This is real. This is family. Delaney crosses to me, taking both my hands in hers. Are you okay? For the first time in weeks, my answer isn't automatic. I actually consider the question. Not yet, I tell her, but I will be. My phone vibrates for the 9th time today. Mom again. I let it buzz against the kitchen counter while I chop vegetables for dinner, the steady rhythm of the knife providing a counterpoint to her increasingly frantic attempts to reach me. When it finally stops, I check the screen. 4 missed calls from Mom, 3 from Dad's cell, 2 from their landline. The voicemail icon displays a little red 8. You going to listen to those? Delaney asks, sliding the cutting board with sliced bell peppers to me. Eventually. I scrape them into the sizzling pan, when I have the emotional bandwidth. Later, curled on the couch with a glass of wine, I press play on the first message. Mara, sweetie, call me back. I don't understand why you're doing this. Mom's voice wavers between hurt and indignation. We can still have the party. Don't throw away all your hard work over a simple misunderstanding. The second, from 2 hours later, your father says you're being childish. People are asking questions. What am I supposed to tell them? By the 6th message, her tone has shifted to tears. Please, Mara, you're embarrassing us. 35 years of marriage, and this is how you help us celebrate? Dad's contribution is a single terse voicemail. You've embarrassed us. Fix this. The line goes dead without even a goodbye. My phone pings with a text from cousin Rachel. Aunt Teresa called Mom crying for an hour, said you're having some kind of breakdown. What's really happening? I delete all the messages without responding. 3 days ago, they would have filled me with guilt. Now they just confirm I made the right decision. The next morning, Rachel sends screenshots of Mom's hastily created Facebook event. Intimate anniversary gathering, family only. She's telling everyone they always wanted something small at home anyway, Rachel writes. Says the other venue was too impersonal for a family celebration. I zoom in on the attendee list. Only 14 people have accepted less than a quarter of the original guest list. They're scrambling. I tell Delaney over breakfast, trying to save face. Is it working? Not really. I scroll through more messages. Uncle Tom asked Mom point blank why I wasn't handling things anymore. Aunt Susan wants to know why the venue changed. Delaney refills my coffee cup. And what did your mother say? That I got overwhelmed with the planning. I make air quotes with my fingers, and they graciously took over to reduce my stress, while making sure I'm not there. Exactly. I reach across the table for her hand, but people are starting to question their story. On what would have been the day of the original celebration, my phone lights up with texts from family who attended their hastily arranged home gathering. Only 10 people showed up, cousin Rachel reports. Your mom keeps laughing too loudly at everything. Your dad hasn't smiled once and keeps looking at his watch. They have grocery store cake and boxed wine, Aunt Susan adds. Your dad told Mrs. Edwards you ruined their special day with your dramatic tantrum. I picture it Mom's forced cheerfulness failing to mask her embarrassment. Dad brooding in the corner, blaming me for their social humiliation. They're getting exactly what they wanted, I tell Delaney. A family-only event. Just not the impressive one they could brag about. Exactly. I set down my phone. Funny how actions have consequences. The text from my cousin Anthony arrives later that night. I stare at my screen, stunned. What is it? Delaney asks, looking up from her book. I read it aloud. I don't get the whole two women married thing. But honestly, Delaney seems more solid than half the husbands I know. You're the only one in the family who stood up for something real. Delaney's eyes widen. From Anthony? The same guy who wouldn't sit at our table at Christmas? The very same. Within hours, more messages arrive from unexpected corners of the family. My great-aunt Elaine. Your mother was wrong to exclude Delaney. I told her so to her face today. Cousin Michael. Mom and I had a long talk after the party. She's embarrassed she didn't speak up sooner. Each message is a tiny crack in my family's united front against us. My Aunt Betty calls the next day. I'm disappointed in how Teresa handled things, she says without preamble. We raised our children better than this. I squeeze the phone, throat tight. Thank you for saying that. Truth always comes out eventually, Mara. Her voice softens. Sometimes it just needs one person brave enough to speak it first. After we hang up, I find Delaney in the garden, pruning roses in the late afternoon light. The family story is shifting, I tell her, sinking onto the bench beside the flower beds. People are choosing sides, and not all of them are choosing my parents. Truth has a power all its own, Delaney says, setting down her shears, even when it's uncomfortable. I watch a bumblebee navigate the roses, moving with purpose between blooms. I never expected to be the one who broke the family pattern. Sometimes, Delaney says, her hand finding mine, dirt and all, the most loyal thing you can do for a family is refuse to participate in its lies. The doorbell chimes through our quiet Sunday afternoon, jarring against the jazz record Delaney put on after breakfast. Through the peephole, my mother's face appears, distorted and anxious. My stomach drops. 3 weeks of silence shattered with no warning. When I open the door, Mom steps forward immediately, arms outstretched, eyes already glassy. Mara, sweetheart. I didn't know you were coming, I say, not stepping back to invite her in. I had to see you. Her voice cracks. I miss my daughter. Over her shoulder, I spot Dad in their silver Lexus at the curb, engine running, gaze fixed forward. Won't even get out of the car. Please, she whispers. I just want things to go back to normal. That word normal snags in my chest like a splinter. Come in, I say finally, stepping aside. We can sit in the living room. Mom's heels click against our hardwood floors. She settles on the edge of the sofa, perched like a bird ready for flight. Her purse stays in her lap, a barrier between us. Delaney moves to the armchair beside me. But Mom's gaze slides past her, as if the chair sits empty. You could have called first, I say. Mom twists her wedding band, the same nervous habit I inherited. I lie awake at night wondering where I went wrong, why you'd hurt us like this. The familiar weight of guilt presses against my ribs, but something has shifted. The pressure finds no purchase. I didn't hurt you, Mom. I refuse to let you hurt me and Delaney. Mom's eyes shine. I know things haven't been perfect, but we're family. Blood. Nothing should come between that. Nothing, I repeat, letting the words sit between us. Including my wife? Mom flinches. Her gaze drops to her hands. I just want my daughter back. Delaney's presence beside me radiates warmth, without a word spoken. Mom still hasn't looked at her. I've always been here, Mom. You just never wanted all of me. I lean forward, my voice steady in a way it's never been with her before. For 3 years, you've never once called Delaney my wife. Only my friend or my roommate, or when you're feeling particularly bold, Mara's partner. At Christmas, you put her name on a separate gift tag. At Thanksgiving, you set her place at the kids' table until Aunt Susan called you out. Mom's mouth opens, then closes. You've never seen Delaney as my wife, I continue, only as an obstacle to overcome. That's not true. Mom's voice rises. We just want what's best for you. And you've never realized that she is what's best for me. The silence stretches between us like a taut wire. Through the window, I see Dad check his watch. I take a deep breath. If you want a relationship with me, I need to be clear about what that looks like. Delaney is my wife. That means using that word wife when you refer to her. It means acknowledging our marriage as real and permanent. My voice grows stronger with each word. It means no more separate invitations, no more asking only me to family events, no more schemes to reconnect me with ex-boyfriends. No more pretending we're just going through a phase. No more telling relatives we're roommates. Mom's face flushes red. You're asking a lot. I'm asking for basic respect. What about your father? He's not comfortable with. Then he's not comfortable with me, I cut in. This isn't a negotiation, Mom. It's the reality of who I am. Her hands grip her purse strap so tightly her knuckles pale. The carefully constructed facade cracks. For the first time, she looks directly at Delaney. What about family? Her voice wavers. Don't you care about that anymore? Delaney reaches for my hand. Our fingers intertwine without looking, a movement as natural as breathing. That's exactly what I'm protecting, I say softly. My family. This family. Right here. Mom stands abruptly, purse clutched to her chest like armor. I see. She moves toward the door, pausing with her hand on the knob. For a moment, I glimpse the mother I remember from childhood before expectations hardened her edges. Vulnerable. Uncertain. The ball's in your court, Mom, I say. We're here when you're ready to see us, both of us. The door closes behind her with a soft click. Through the window, I watch her slow walk to the car, Dad's questioning gesture, her short head shake in response. The Lexus pulls away from the curb, becoming smaller until it vanishes around the corner. Delaney's arm slides around my waist. You okay? Better than I expected, I say, surprised to find it's true. Actually, I was thinking about the refund money from the anniversary party. What about it? I turn to face her, an idea taking shape. What if we host our own celebration? Invite the people who've actually stood by us. Nothing fancy, maybe a backyard barbecue when the weather warms up. Delaney smiles. With Rachel and Michael and your Uncle Tom? And Anthony, I add, thinking of my conservative cousin's unexpected support. A gathering where no one has to pretend or hide, Delaney says, squeezing my hand. With both our names on the invitations. I lean into her. Equal billing. I already picture it. String lights crisscrossing our maple tree. Mismatched tables arranged on the lawn. Laughter flowing as freely as wine. No stiff formality, no pointed omissions. Just authenticity. Look at you, setting boundaries and planning parties in the same day. I laugh, the sound lighter than it's been in weeks. Well, I did drop $8,000 on an event that never happened. Might as well put those planning skills to use for people who actually see us. Outside, spring sunshine breaks through the clouds. casting warm patterns across our living room floor, not unlike the light that spilled through the curtains Delaney and I chose together, back when I was planning a different celebration. But this light feels cleaner somehow, unobstructed. String lights crisscross our backyard like constellations, reflecting off the rims of wine glasses and the silver serving platters we borrowed from Sarah. The air smells of charcoal and Sarah's famous rosemary bread. Laughter ripples across our lawn, rising and falling in a rhythm that feels nothing like the strained politeness of my parents' gatherings. Delaney stands by the makeshift bar, pouring wine for my cousin Anthony, who's leaning forward with surprising interest. I strain to hear their conversation over the music. "So you restore old buildings?" Anthony asks, taking the glass she offers. "That's some hard work." "Mostly on paper," Delaney says. "I analyze structural integrity, figure out what can stay and what needs replacing." "Huh." He nods, looking genuinely impressed. "Like surgery for buildings." I watch as Delaney laughs, her hand touching his arm briefly the way she does when she's making a real connection. 3 years of family gatherings where she sat silently, barely acknowledged. And now here she is, teaching my conservative cousin about historical architecture preservation. The tightness that's lived between my shoulder blades for years loosens a notch. Uncle Tom raises his glass, catching everyone's attention. "If I could say something." His voice, gravelly from decades of smoking, silences the chatter. "To Mara and Delaney, the couple who brought us all together today. Some people," he pauses, and I know he's thinking of my parents, "mistake tradition for love. But looking around, I'd say this right here is what family's supposed to be." My eyes burn as glasses rise in a wave around our yard. I'm not the only one wiping away tears. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I shouldn't check it, not now, but some habits die hard. It's Mom. The house feels empty without all the family. No mention of Dad, no apology. Just the beginning of awareness that actions have consequences. Delaney finds me by the hydrangeas we planted last spring. "You okay?" She hands me a fresh glass of wine. "Better than okay." I take her hand, feeling the calluses from her weekend woodworking projects. Just thinking about paths. Mom's reaching out, sort of. Dad isn't. Some people need more time, she says, her thumb tracing circles on my palm. And some people never get there. I finish. The realization doesn't sting like it used to. After the last guests leave, we sit on our porch swing, my head against Delaney's shoulder. The yard below still bears evidence of celebration, a forgotten scarf, empty glasses waiting to be collected, flower petals scattered across the grass. "Do you regret it?" Delaney asks suddenly. "Canceling their party?" I let the swing rock us back and forth while I consider. The weight of her question deserves a thoughtful answer. "Not for a second," I finally say, surprised by how much I mean it. This is what celebration should feel like. Later, after we've turned off the string lights and locked the doors, we stand side by side at the kitchen sink. I wash, she dries the routine we've perfected over years. Her hip bumps mine occasionally, our hands passing plates back and forth in a dance so familiar we don't need words. "What are you thinking about?" she asks, placing a wine glass in the cabinet. "Family," I say. "Not just blood, the kind we build. Like this house," she says. "We should do this more often, make our home a gathering place." She smiles. The anti-Lawson family traditions. On the windowsill above the sink sits the Polaroid that Sarah took tonight, all of us gathered on the back steps, drinks in hand, Delaney's arm around my waist, my head thrown back in laughter. I'll frame it tomorrow. My breath fogs the window as I look out at our garden, darkness hiding the trampled grass and scattered citronella candles. We'll clean it properly tomorrow, but tonight, the mess feels like evidence of something honest. "It sucks when your own family turns their back," I say, handing Delaney the last plate. "But sometimes, your real family is the one that chooses to stay."